How to do. Okay, so once again, Alexa, turn on dynamic duo. Back at it. Finally, getting some more painting in. Now, what am I going to do? Well, I've been working on these bats. I'm trying to make them look like bats. I mean, they do kind of look like bats. They're okay. I mean, what do you think? Do they look like a bunch of batty bats? I think I was thinking about, I have some the moss things. I just don't know, how are you supposed to make the stuff stick? You know, the pigment, when you have this wild moss pigment. And swamp mud. And then I have, what is this one? Middle Earth. I don't know what Middle Earth is supposed to be. Is that dirt? And then light brown earth. Okay, I've never actually really used these pigments. I don't know how. I've kind of watched a couple of videos on using pigments, and to be honest, I still don't quite get what makes them stick. You know, how do you keep them from just rubbing off? So it's been kind of a mystery for me in that sense. So I guess it's just me taking a brush, one of my lesser cheap little nothing brushes, and I don't know, I guess I'll try let's try some Middle Earth. I don't know what this is going to do, and again, I don't know if I'm supposed to spray it. I mean, I don't know. How do you make it stay? So yeah, I take this pigment junk, and this is all just kind of, I mean, what's the magic trick? It's kind of cool. Just makes it look dirtier. I mean, like actually like dirt. Kind of just has like a rough, kind of textured appearance, I guess. Then I guess you're supposed to brush it off? Huh. Do you brush it off or just tap it off and hope it stays? I don't know. I feel like it's just not going to be permanent. I mean, I know it's not going to be permanent. What makes it stick? You have to have some kind of activator, right? Do I get a spray bottle or something? If you make it wet, will it just turn into paint? What does it do? So I do not get this stuff at all. And here I am putting it on. Shouldn't be messing with stuff you don't know what you're doing. You know just enough to get yourself in trouble. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right. This mossy stuff isn't very mossy. It does kind of have a sense of mossiness, though. Now, here's one of the things I don't normally like to do. See, now, if you look at this guy, he's got a pretty big base of flex iron on him. That is not going to do for me. I don't like, I don't really like flex iron. I mean, I like the flex iron base, don't get me wrong. That's not the problem. It's the fact that it's not an actual base by itself. It needs to be wiped out. So in order to do that, I'll take my earth brown junk here. I'm just going to layer it out there so it kind of extends the base that came with it. See how he got that base there? And I'm just going to plop this stuff down over. It's quite a bit, so I'll probably have to go all the way around on here. Put some of this mud jungle. It's just, this stuff's kind of cool. I mean, it's a good base for muddy surfaces, dirt surfaces, because it is grainy. You can see that it's got a grainy effect. Very gravelly. And I do like to actually go over, kind of slightly overlap the original base. It gives it a better chance of, not looking too much like it's not connected. And I try to, if I can, I try to carve it a little bit, shape it so that it extends the base. So like the low parts are kind of low with the dirt, and then the high parts are kind of high with the dirt. Just kind of makes them all kind of look continual. So rather than creating like a new area. But there's no reason why it can't be a little tall against the edges. Because if you do that, you don't want to taper too distinctly to the bottom, right? Because if it tapers too much, then it looks like, well, that's not really natural looking. I think I've got quite a bit on there. It's good. And when this stuff gets hard, it will actually it'll actually make my base more sturdy too. My flex iron base will become more rigid. So we have a game night tonight. So if you happen to be in the Washington area, you're interested in doing some board gaming, and that's what I meant, board gaming. Gaming tonight. Come on down and join us. You have to be Washington, Western Washington, kind of north end. We play at the church at Maltby. We get to use their rec room, or whatever we call it, their activities room. Because, well, several of us have been members of that church for a while, and they just let us use it. So for board gaming. Now, it is just mostly just it's a outreach program of sorts. I mean, really, there's no obligation, no nothing like that. I mean, sometimes we say a little prayer to start, but that's it. Then we just play games and food. People generally will bring snacks and stuff that they want to share, and just enjoy each other's company, man. It's a no pressure situation. Just go have fun. So yeah, come on out. Everybody's welcome. Yeah, it's not too bad. That should work. Once that dries, I can paint it, kind of give it that same green color I gave the rest of the ground, put some more pigment all over it, get it looking a little bit more like the whole base is supposed to be, what it is. I will often just, as part of my just setting up a base, I put one of these textures on and just kind of level out whatever base I'm using. If you're using a round base or whatever, like him, he's got this kind of brick. Amazon Photos is not supported on this device. I don't know what. Why? What did I say? Did I say photos? Oh my gosh. She just starts telling you random crap. Photos is not supported. I'm like, who said anything about what? Did I ask it to do anything? Did I say her name? What was the trigger point that got that device going? Tell you, I think there's a ghost. I think sometimes she just likes to randomly tell you stuff. People will think they said it. It's just advertisement, right? Make people think, they won't believe that. They'll think they did it. So we'll just have it advertise what it can do. And people will believe they slipped. They said something that triggered her. In fact, they didn't. But they don't know that. Now, the question is, now this is supposed to be, this particular stuff, supposed to be, what do you call it? Malleable? Formable? Sculptable? I don't know. I don't know that I've ever done much in the way of sculpting. I've done little things, but I've never really actually tried to do significant amount of sculpting. Is it weird to try to put a sidewall on this thing? Make people think I actually used a real base, because if I paint it, it'll look like I used an actual base and not just flex iron. I'm just thinking I want to paint this or carve this in some way to look like regular like a cement floor kind of thing. Now I'm feeling a little pressured because my parents invited us out to dinner. Parents, us, like me and my brother, my whole family. And, just to go out to eat, just go do something. I don't know, because they're going to go out of town for a while. And we just we spent Wednesday together with my parents. So it's like, we had watched, we did pizza and a movie, just kind of hung out together. And, they helped us move a couch, or at least my dad did. And I have plans this evening, and I had plans beforehand. It wasn't like I, made the plans after the fact. I still feel a little guilty not going tonight, but I feel like, well, I kind of just it's not like we didn't see them. They're going to come. I mean, they're only going to be gone a few weeks. They are going on a trip to Mexico. Actually, they're doing a bunch of stuff. Right? They're always traveling. It's one of the benefits of retirement, right? When you retire and you actually have, you are disciplined enough to actually save money, or you work for a good company like my stepmother did, and working for Microsoft. I don't think she wasn't like one of those people who got all the bajillions of stocks and stuff, but she did have some. enough to, have a decent retirement going. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. And as a result, they can do some travel and stuff, which is nice. It's good for them. We still tease them about it because they're never home, but I don't know. It's hard to get this stuff to be pretty flat. I'm shaping this up to be a flat floor because I just want it to be like, I'm going to just do the classic brick floor if I can. Maybe carve it out a little bit. But you can't really do it until it dries some, because obviously when you're just putting it on, all you're doing is... Now I can paint it when it's like this, but it's kind of a pain. Because if you touch it, you'll screw it up and you have to go fix it. And I haven't got to play game night in a long time. Because my work, until they released me, set me free. I had to work weekends all the time, and I was really hating it. I was like, this is dumb. I feel like I've done my... I shouldn't have to be working weekends anymore. Maybe that's why I got laid off. I don't know. No, that's not the weekends issue. It's other issues. But anyway, it was just one of those things. All right, so there you go. He's got a base ready to be carved up to look like concrete. I got two bases kind of ready for concrete appearances. I'm gonna shade this one down a little bit more though. There we go. Trying to make it look a little more natural. Now I do have other guys, orcs. Maybe I'll work on their bases a little bit later. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's go ahead and see what I can do about getting some more paint on these guys as I get closer and closer to the... So I got these different, like I said, different moss. I got moss mud. I think this yellow one's almost a better... This brown earth has a better moss look, to be honest. What about the other one? Oh, Middle earth, which is kind of a brown. I should put that one down in the ground and the other one up on top. Or maybe I did already. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to use for activator or how to make the... Let's see. How to adhere pigments to mini. Actually, I already mentioned paint guide to mixing and applying mini paints. How do you paint a mini with... Okay, how to adhere dry pigments to mini. Try dusting it on, sealing it with a spray varnish. Varnish can work, but the spray or airbrush, best to spray or airbrush it on though, because using a paintbrush will probably move the pigments around. Airbrush thinner will work because it's 20% alcohol. Best applied by a spare dropper bottle or airbrush since you don't want huge overspray either. Oh, interesting. All right, here we go. Stick, but retain the dry look. Gotta look. This is one of those things. It's a... Whoa, what the heck? Well, my screen is wigging out, man. Check that out. What are you looking at? Is that even showing up for you? It's not even on the screen. What is going on? Hold on. You can use a spray matte varnish or brush a matte varnish. Drop it on and it will spread by itself. Are you supposed to put the varnish first? You can use a spray matte varnish or a brush of matte varnish. It mixes then. Interesting. Doesn't really say much there. I don't know, but I do know my screen is totally wigging out on me. All right, sorry, I'm trying to fix my screen here. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a... I had it on the wrong network, and that's why I think it was showing up or breaking down or whatever it wasn't doing. Whatever it was doing wrong, it was because it was on the wrong screen. All right. So, yeah, I've been trying to figure out, like I say, how to get this pigment down. It says use an airbrush, but it seems like a lot of work to use an airbrush on pigment. You're only doing it for like 2 seconds. But I don't really have a spray varnish otherwise. They said airbrush thinner would work. But I don't want it to be... All right. I'm going to try something. You know, it's all about the experimental state, right? Matte varnish. What do I have? It's a matte varnish. I don't want to actually spray all over everything. I do have a matte varnish, by the way. But I want to try... see if I have a brush on one I can use. A brush on one I can use that I'm going to spray. Medium, 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 medium. Satin varnish. Sheesh. Medium. Gloss varnish. Got some satin varnish, some gloss varnish. Do I not have a matte varnish? What the heck? I could have swore I had a matte varnish. Well, I'll be dangered. I don't think I have a matte varnish. I have glossy varnishes up the wazoo. I have a technical Ard coat, which I think is a glossy varnish. Well, dang narbit. All right, got another strategy here. Super matte varnish. Now I haven't used this particular can of varnish in months, only because I haven't been varnishing. I probably should varnish more than I do, to be honest. And since this is a lower importance piece, I'm not going to worry too much. About the potential downfalls of doing this. Because it's not like... I just want to see if this will do anything to make the pigment stay. That's it, man. I'm not putting a lot on. I just wanted to see if this will activate my, or dry my pigment nicely. We'll see what it does. Just enough to... I only put a dose. You can see it kind of did turn a little muddy, but we'll see. See what it did. See, like, and if it don't work, I might have to put the matte varnish first and then put the stuff on. I don't know, but I'll have to paint my newly coated base anyway. Yeah, see, it turned my brown pigment into mud, which is not particularly what I was looking for. It just turned it into brown paint is what it did, and then now it looks wet. And then it'll dry, and then it'll look brown, but then it won't have that powdery look. So, it's not exactly what I was aiming for, but at least now I know. Live and learn. You have to. I think you have to put the varnish down first, and then you put the stuff on over it. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Because I'm pretty sure it just turned my paint into paint. Because that's what pigment is, right? I mean, you want it to stay powdery, but you want it to stay on top. And right now it just looks painted. And so, all right. Well, the bat thing is working. I just want to look not like a sloppy bunch of bats. You know, I've been trying to call it out the detail a little bit better, make them look more like bats. I've thought about trying to dot the eyes. Red eyes don't work great because it's really hard to make the red eyes pop against black. So there's that. So a couple of things that, you know, make that challenging. So it's all in the experimentation process for us beginners to figure out what works, what doesn't, right? We're going to go ahead and put my bats aside as well for now. And I try to look at my orcs. All right, so I have this band of orcs. And they're dark skinned. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. But I thought I'd make another set of orcs. Like maybe these orcs. I have 3, I think. Yeah, 3 more orcs. And I was thinking I might want to make them like... I thought about trying to make them like different colored skin. Just slightly different. Like maybe they're a more pale or something. I don't know. Did I not put the colors down on these guys? I think I used, I'm trying to remember what I used on these guys. A Nightmare Black. What is Nightmare Black? I don't remember what color I used on their skin. See, I'm going to have to... I think it's a purplish color. Oh, that's right. It was. The color I used was this corporeal shadow, I think. And I found it to be too purple, and I had to go over it with another color. Yeah, see how purple that is? And it's kind of a purple black color, dark purple black. And then I went over it with like a black wash. So their skin right now is not even a actual paint. It's not a specific paint. So I'm thinking about trying out this different color and just go with I don't know what Nightmare Black is. I don't think I've ever tried it. I'm looking for ways to get. I kind of like the color of their skin, so I was thinking about maybe trying to do the corporeal shadow, but in a lighter way. I mean, I'm trying to think. Or maybe darker? I mean, what color is orc skin in general? Orcs are generally like a dark color, right? Black, brown, maybe even. What does brown and purple make? Would that be weird? I'm going to try something. I'm going to do something weird. I'm actually going to paint them with the same color skin. And instead of using black as a wash, I'm going to use brown as a wash and see what it does to them. Experimentation, man. I'm going to see what it does to their skin. It all comes down to just trying to learn, right? And these guys, they're orcs. I mean, I'm not too worried about, I'm going to need a good chunk of paint for that. And then, oh, you know what? I didn't prime these guys. Darn garnet. All right. That's all right. Let's prime them. I got a moment. Let's prime them. Pop this puppy out. Easy peasy. Get myself some matte gray primer. I wasn't going to do all 6 orcs. I was just going to do... And while this dries, I will while the primer dries, I will go ahead and start the armor on the other guys. We're working on the armor a little bit more. I like to kind of get a slow bubble backflow, and that helps shake up the medium I just stuck in there with it. I do have a handy dandy little stir stick here, just to make sure it stirs up good. I hope I have enough. And you might be looking at me going, why aren't you wearing a mask? And the answer to that is, that's the answer. I probably should be wearing a mask. Should I do a slap chop? Or what do you call it? Zenithal prime. Get the gray on there. I'm gonna have to do some work on this spear though. This spear is not happy camper. It's a wonked out spear, man. I'm just doing a full body gray. If I want to do zenithal, I'd have to do like a slight kind of a white down and a black up kind of deal going. Kind of get the details to pop out a little bit. Then you can do glazing to use a real thin paints to So I was thinking about doing this dragon of mine. I was thinking about making him brown with gold speckles. And how do you get the speckles? I was thinking an airbrush. If you just have it on a higher force, it'll splatter, and you'll get a splatter effect, a speckle effect. That works, right? That should give me what I want, theoretically. These swords on these orcs here strike me as the perfect opportunity to learn MMA, or to practice MMA, because I have not figured it out. It's a whole nother area of thing I have not learned, along with all the other dozens of things. React and angular, I know. You don't know what that is, don't feel bad. React and Angular are programming languages, and I'm actually taking a class online, trying to learn it, because I need to add it to my repertoire of things I can do to help aid in my job hunt, I guess. Alright, I think that guy's pretty much covered in stuff. Alright, so now those guys have some primer on them. I got a little bit of paint left here. Let's spray me a goblin. These guys are random. Here's a hobgoblin. I don't think I've painted any hobgoblins. I really should do some hobgoblins. Hobgoblins look basically just like hobgoblins from Marvel Comics. They have that kind of hob. That's probably why he calls himself that. What's his name? Can't remember his real name. His character real name. Who's who's his civilian identity? The Hobgoblin. And then there's Green Goblin, who's also just as psychopathic nutsopath. Let's see, do I have another Hobgoblin here I can spray up? I think I might have room for one more with this, with my leftover primer. Maybe. These guys are little, so they don't take up a lot, so... Alright, well, I think that's it. I think that's going to have to meet the criteria I'm looking for. Now, the problem with this guy is if I put a base on him... Alright, so I got some primed guys. Primed and ready to go for future painting. I don't even think I have another Hobgoblin here. I did. Oh, it looks like I've primed a couple. So maybe I'll have to do a Hobgoblin squad next. Maybe a Hobgoblin squad that's fancy pants, you know, like give them like gold and hard armor and just make them look like they're like the King's Hobgoblin squad. They're still Hobgoblins, so the gear that's on the model is never going to be all that amazing. But, you know, just try to make them be kind of unusual just for their style. I'm just touching up because I have just a tad bit of paint in here. Alright, close enough. So I gotta clean this out now. One of the must-dos of airbrushing. Now, I think I am going to do something zenithal. I think, oh no, oops, I just poured water all over my desk because I dumped this. It's kind of nasty looking. I'm going to have to clean that out. The fun part of watching somebody spray paint is there comes the excitement of watching them clean their airbrush. So this little buddy has like a filter in the top here, so that when you blast it in, the fumes, the paint, the crap that you're spraying isn't like feeding back out into the atmosphere right into your face. Now I do have to wipe this out, but I wanted to kind of get it to run through, or I clear out as much junk as I can before I pull in the finish. Not that clean on the outside, but it's definitely better on the inside. I got like a what do you call it? I dropped a actual paint chunk in there. I don't want actual paint chunks in there. I don't know what the difference is between airbrush cleaner and airbrush thinner, but one's more soap, I guess. Now, I'm told that cleaning an airbrush should not be difficult. It can be a pain in the rear, though, I'll tell you. It's like right now, look, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing a chunk. Something in there. I certainly don't want that in my brush. And sometimes you're just like, and how much, you know, you don't want to use all of your cleaner all at once. I have thinner and flow improver, but I don't have a lot of cleaner. Oh, I do have another thing over there. Alright, let's get some other colors on. Hopefully this will do the trick, and I can take care of maybe doing an easy zenithal, or I'll do a black or a white down. Now you could do a dry brush. Some people do that. I don't know. I'm not a big dry brush kind of guy. I don't like dry brushing. It just always looks weird to me. Don't feel like it's flowing at a good pace. That's what I'm worried about. I mean, the cup is clean, but it's all about what's between the needle, between the cup and the head. And that's where I'm worried. That it might be too... Yep, looks okay. I guess it looks adequate. Let's see what happens. Let's go on to the next next task. Let's get some white, shall we? I think I have airbrush white here, or game color white, or some kind of white here. Ink. Oh, maybe I don't have an airbrush white. Alright, well then, game color white it is. It's ink white, by the way. Ink game color. Big difference. White, you don't, oh, I've been hit or miss with white. White's been not a friend of mine. And me and white don't get along too well. Just saying. White tends to be thick and troublesome sometimes. Hopefully that'll do it. Again, this is meant to be just a thin coat of over-the-top shading on these guys. So that's how it goes. Since I'm not doing the opposite color, black, it's probably not going to have quite the same effect. Yeah, I guess I could try to do the opposite color. Just because I can, I have them here. Thing is, man, even with a light brush, it's... So yeah, once again, just kind of getting the basics in here, using up my paint. Let's see, well this guy, this might be a bit much to do this, but we're going to try it. Yeah, I ran out of paint. But it's not too bad. It's better. It's One step closer for that guy to actually get painted. Alright, so now we'll just throw in some cleaner here again. A little more water. And then we'll try one more color, I guess. Check that out. That's what happens when you get soap and bubbles mixing together. Soap and water bubbling up. Alright, clean that puppy out. Does it look clean? You know, it could look better, for sure. And it's starting to make me nervous. Because the more crap you get in there, eventually it becomes a problem. Just because it's not a problem now, doesn't mean it won't be. It's like kicking up a little bit. So there are some airbrushes that cost several, I mean, mega hundreds of dollars. $1,000, $600, I don't know. There's some pretty high, I mean, super high-end ones. And I don't know, what exactly are you getting for that? It just doesn't feel like something you would need. I don't know. Just seems like overkill. I mean, I can understand precision, blah, 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 but I mean, does it really create the kind of precision you're talking about there? I don't know. So I'm going to use my airbrush matte black. Just threw my cleaner on the floor. Hope that closed that. Oh, wasn't closed. That's nice. No. Theoretically, you shouldn't have to put any kind of a medium in your airbrush paints. But I don't trust airbrush paints. I don't trust any kind of paints anymore, because historically they have been very cruel and plugging up. And the only way I've been able to guarantee myself a reasonable amount of success we'll see. Here it goes. Let's do these guys. Now I'm going to hit them from the bottom, just slightly. I'm going for light because I don't want to overdo the shading. I've done this before, and I put a huge coat of black, and then the black kind of just is too black. I can't get anything over it. kind of funny how you hear talk about it, how they're supposed to go opposite, but it can be quite tricky sometimes, given that there's a base on most miniatures, on a lot of miniatures. Okay, not on most, but on a lot of miniatures there's a base, and as a result, it can be quite hard to even hit the bottom. It is kind of cool though, the way the Zenithal Prime, if nothing else, pops the details so that you can really get a grasp of what this guy's all about, right? And that in itself is kind of helpful when you're painting, because knowing what you're looking at, it just makes everything pop a little bit. Again, I'm getting low on paint, so I'm not going to get far with this last little drip. Now I didn't put any medium on this one, in this paint. I mention that because I'm feeling it dry. It's getting into my hairbrush and drying out. I can just tell. Such is the way. Uh-oh. Now my problem isn't going to be drying brush. It's going to be missing paint. Okay, I think I'm ready to call it with this dude. I don't think there's any more black to be had in here. What was the name of the that little goblin dude in Harry Potter? I ask because this guy kind of looks like him. It just reminds me of him. All right. Definitely good enough. Now I've got all of the things painted that I want to paint. And now are all the things primed and ready to go that are on the docket. So I should be able to clean this junk out, call it good. Ah, see, this is why people wear gloves. Pretty hard to, it's not that easy to get that stuff off here. You do it when it's wet maybe, but I don't. I just tend to walk around for a day or so with paint on my hands. Makes me look like I actually do something for it. I actually work. I don't right now, but at least it kind of sort of looks, hey, you've been doing something. Yeah, doing something. That's what I'm doing. I may actually have to take this guy apart because he is starting to look kind of gunked up. Kind of looking gunked up, and I don't want it drying up gunked up. You know, what a pain, huh? So airbrushes have their advantages, but they also have their pain in the rear-nesses. Pair in the rear-nesses. Because they just, you know, they're great for some things. They can make some life easier, but if you can't keep the paint in the right consistency, they will, in fact, start to, whatever you do, don't put pressure on the needle. When you're ever cleaning the needle, don't put any pressure on it. You don't want to bend it. That's when things go way wonky. I'm just kind of rubbing it off. Any paint that's on this guy. But it's like a landslide, right? Tiny little bit, a tiny little pebble starts rolling, knocks another pebble, and knocks another pebble. That's what the dirtiness of a paintbrush is. Little piece dries on there. Then another little piece dries on there. And then another little piece dries on there. And then before you know it, dang gummit, you've got a dang gum avalanche of dried on paint. And it's just... you're in this deep, you know. You've passed the line of being able to just do it without any real cleansing. Every now and then you just need to say, screw it, I'm gonna put in the effort, and I'm going to get this paint off of there, you know. And then some people watching the stream might be going, well, don't put the effort in while I'm on here. I'm like, well, sorry, dude. It's just part of the life of being a miniature painter. You gotta. Gotta do what you gotta do to keep things clean, you know? Because once you don't make that effort, that's when everything kind of goes down the tubes. everywhere that the paint piles up is just a plugged, clogged up airbrush. Bad paint session waiting to happen. Don't let bad paint sessions happen to you. Yeah, that doesn't actually look too bad. And if you do take the time, spend a few minutes wiping off, cleaning off the gunk in places that you can see, that means that gunk won't end up where it's not supposed to, and perhaps you can get out of this with a quick cleaning that only takes you 5 minutes. Like that. Okay. I need a drink. So I tried this morning. I had these Kodiak pancakes, flapjacks, whatever you call them. I made them. They're a box. It's a box mix, but it's a high protein. That's what they that's their claim to fame. You know, claim to that's their thing. You know, their marketing thing. And put a lot of protein in them. So you get like 2 pancakes. I guess is 2. No, maybe it's 4. I don't know, but it's like you get 15 grams of protein. But if you use milk, it's 18, and if you throw an extra egg in there, it's 21. Pretty good, right? 21 grams of protein for 4 pancakes. They're big pancakes, so you like this. So I can't even eat that much. So that's a lot of pancake. So I only ate 2, because I turned them into 8 waffles, which is it's 2 servings for the thing. So it's like four waffles. They're little square waffles, and then I added a half a scoop of vanilla protein. So that adds another 12. Just to the whole thing, though, so it's only 6 for my thing. So, but anyway, it turns, 6, 21. So you get like 24, 25 grams of protein just in the pancakes, which is a pretty good serving if you're interested in that kind of thing. But which I am, because I work out a lot. So, phew, yeah, what a mess. All right, let's get some more. Let's get some paintbrush painting done for a bit, shall we? I've got primer on, guys. I've got I'm gonna give these guys. Do I want to give them fancy mithril chain, or should I just go with the usual silver? Let's give them a sparkly chain, huh? A chain shirt, mithril chain shirt. I'm gonna use I don't know what color yet. I'm gonna look. Color shifters. I'm gonna use a color shifter. Green and violet. That's interesting. Dark green. Now it's got to have kind of a silver, old silver, pale violet. Maybe. Pearl violet. Pearl violet. Nah, white. I don't know if I want white chain. Green, gold, cold blue. Gold and pale blue. Green and silver blue. Oh, now that might be good. I can't tell what any of these look like, to be honest. They all look the same. In the bottle, they always look kind of like, see that one? You can see the green in it. I don't know what the silver blue is. Sometimes if I want my color shifter to lean in a direction, I actually just add what I want it to lean towards. A little bit more silver, add a little more silver. If you want it to be a little bit more gold, you add a little bit more gold. Or even the base color, green or whatever it's going to be. You can't add much because once you do that, the sparkly aspect of it can kind of disappear. You know, they say you're supposed to shake for 2 minutes, but you know, 2 minutes is a lot of freaking shaking. And it's Vallejo, and I will say this about Vallejo's paints, they bubble. They get real weird. So I like to mix them with a thicker paint, which kind of sucks down their... So I'm going to put a drop of just natural steel. I'm going to take this, put it in the general vicinity of my natural steel. I got to do a lot of guys, so I'm going to put a lot of drops down here. Grab my brush. I don't think I actually painted. So if you have a dry pigment and you don't wash your brush, will it damage the brush? If it doesn't, if your brush wasn't wet and you put it on dry pigment, will it do anything, or will it just paint your brush? I mean, I feel like you could just rinse it off whenever you want. If it's dry, it's not activated yet, so it hasn't had a chance to adhere to anything. Just seems weird to me. This is a flat brush, so... Alright. See how this goes. So we'll take a little bit of my color shifter paint, and we're going to mix it with this actual silver here. I want it to lean, I want it to be color shiftery, but I think I want it to be a little more silvery. Problem is, alright, so he's got, this guy's one of the ones with the least amount of this chain. I don't even know where do orcs get chainmail? Is that like, that's not standard issue, right? Did they get it from heroes that they killed? From hobbits? From the hobbits that they ransacked? I mean, you gotta figure, you know, not all of them are Bilbo. A lot of those hobbits, of course, I guess they, where would Bilbo get? Hobbits don't normally have it either, right? This brush is too big. I struggle with doing big brushes, man. Tight areas. Some people can do that. They can use like a 1 or a 2, and they just do it wherever they want, man. Doesn't have any effect on them. It's like, whatever. We can paint with whatever. I don't know how they do that. It's a skill. People can just manipulate big old monster brushes in tiny spots. I'm like, well, that's not me. And part of the trick is seeing. This one I didn't do the zenithal prime stuff with, so it's harder to see the details. And he has so much less of the chain shirt than all of his friends do. He's wearing a lot of furs and junk. But he's got one on under there. Well, he's got to be. You'd think these guys would be hot. No wonder they're cranky all the time. It's like, how are you not cranky wearing all this crap? They're just killing adventurers because they're jealous that they're smarter than them. It's like, you think you're tough because you just walk around with one layer of armor on. Well, we got 2 and 3 and 4 layers of armor, and as soon as I can stop myself from okay, I'm gonna give me some water, quick. I stop overheating here. I'm gonna come over there and chop your head off. And the adventurers just kind of watch him going, yeah, we're gonna leave now. You just go ahead and deal with that. You come back here, adventurer. We're gonna kill you dead. It's like, yeah, no. I think you've got your problems you got to deal with. We'll just move on. I said, don't go. All right, so you're gonna note. You might note. Maybe you're noting that I'm not actually using these paints as I thought I would. And because I'm kind of hitting it with, I'm only going on the fact that I could see these different types of links on this guy. This guy wears his kind of on the outside, which is kind of weird. He kind of wears his, well, I guess it makes sense. He doesn't want to get his nice fancy, furs damaged. So he's wearing this stuff on the outside. I think this other guy had it tucked under his fur. The one I just painted. Just using my slightly bigger brush for the moment while I get this couple of layers on. This guy's got more chain, so I gotta hit it from... And it does hold more paint, so it makes it easier to... get it on there. Now, this chain being slightly higher up is problematic because, well, my furs, I got furs on the bottom and furs on the top. So if I was going to paint the furs, kind of have to, I'm going to have to work around my chain here. And this coating is just enough to try to darken down it a little bit, get a little bit more of the pure steel in there. It's mixed with same color. Like I said, this stuff has a tendency to just look a little washed out. It works, actually I think it works better on dark colors. This is what an odd thing about the color shifters. They seem to almost be more, they work better with an undercoating of dark color. That's been my experience so far. Got the game night plans are going crazy, man. All right, where's my third guy? Oh, there he is. Does he have chainmail? Oh yeah, look at him. He's got a boatload of chainmail going on him. He's basically just a chainmail shirt. This guy says, screw all that fur crap. Man, why would I want to have all that junk on me? It's way easier to wield this monster sword of mine in a head removing format, if in fact I can move. And this stuff goes on almost like a wash, because it's thin. You have to get it in well, especially on a chain shirt, right? Because you're trying to get it deep into those bits and parts. I don't know what the heck. I've got these little flakes coming off. Plugging into here. I know I keep saying I want to do some more board gaming streams. I've been doing some game design lately again, working on some of the games that I like to finish up. One of them is one of the ones I most want to finish up. I have a couple games finished. I just don't have them funded. And I haven't launched a fund for them because I don't have... I got to figure out how to build up people who are interested list. You know, I've been using Facebook kind of as my, hey, if you're interested, blah, blah, blah. And we need about 400 more out of 800. We're about halfway to my goal to launch the Kickstarter for the X case. And basically we have already had a version of the X case in the market for a while. And you can probably find a few of them still out there. I think most of them are sold out everywhere. So what I need to do is get some more made, but we're upgrading the materials. We're actually going to make a bigger unit, one that's can hold like big 7-inch figures. We're going to have we're going to also have it with some inserts, cool inserts for paints and shelves and drawers and ways to custom configure the way your cases are laid out. If you don't know what the X case is, or the Mage Cage, which we have some in stock. You can see those at AMG Direct if you wanted to get yourself some. But the Mage Cage is good for 25 millimeter and 35 millimeter figures. It's a little bit different interior configuration, which allows for more of the smaller figures to fit because of the way they overlap, and it kind of has its own shelf inside. If you're interested in a storage case that's expandable, that grows with your collections, check it out. It's at you can see it under on YouTube and Instagram. under Active Minds Games. That's Minds with an S, not like my stream name is Active Mind Gamer. Active Minds Games. That's 2 S's. Find that under YouTube and Instagram. You can see what it is, and it holds all kinds of stuff. It's really cool, and it's got mounting holes on the back, so you can mount them on the wall. You can mount the top unit on the wall, and then just kind of hang several more off of that. And then, let's see, that's 3. Then, if you want to be part of that Kickstarter, when it launches, I don't have a date for that yet because that is, again, determined greatly. It will be determined primarily by you. How many people we get following, how many people are interested in seeing that Kickstarter come to pass. Want to help me do that? Go check out Facebook. Same thing, Active Minds Games. And follow us there. And once we hit 800 followers, I will announce the date, probably 2 to 3 months after that. You can also help us in advance if you're interested in helping push that along. We want to do some, like, get some professional assistance in getting the word out, that kind of thing. You can always support my Patreon page, and there's links to that underneath my stream, and that can help a lot too. All the money I get from the stream, except for stuff specifically designed to go towards the stream itself, and I would say, or if it's even noted, use this for your stream, leave a message, and then I use it for the stream. So, but anything else, all of it, 100%, goes towards trying to get the Kickstarter launched. And we already have a lot of the design work done for the big unit, so that's not going to take much to finish that up. And then it's just getting but the big unit is going to take a good chunk of resources. It's not a small thing. That it's a big. When I say big, I mean big. It's a big cost endeavor. So this has got to be a big Kickstarter to get to get this funded. So we have to reach that large number of preliminary followers. Now, you get some when you hit Kickstarter. I mean, that's just natural. But we don't want to go in without kind of a decent ready to buy list, people who are interested right out the gate. And just because it's not going to make it if we can't get out the gate quickly. So that's the goal. Just so you know where we're headed and what the plan is. And it will happen. It will happen. If it ain't now, this year, the following year, it's all up to you. And the sooner I can get those numbers, the sooner we launch, the sooner we get the production going. Is it a guarantee if we hit those numbers that we'll get all the money? No, it's not. But estimates state if I can get 11 to 1,200 people on the Kickstarter, which is definitely not a number that's out of reach, then we have a fighting chance to hit the number that we need. And therefore, having 800 just walking into the launch will give us a chance. But right now we've got 400, which probably won't be. It might be a little more tough with that. So. As I continue to get just the, you know what, I'm going to need more, Green, silver, blue. When you put something down that's heavy in bubbles, it tends to go fast because the bubbles is just air, right? So you're not. This guy's got chain, but it's not as much. He's got more. His is covered up more by the furs that he's wearing. Yep, that's it for him. You don't have a lot. He does not have nearly so much. It's weird when you. I don't know if this guy was 100% dry from his priming time, but it's not bad. A little sticky. Maybe. Who's left? One left. Another guy with a lot of chain. It's a good smooth or a good straight up, nothing complicated layer though. Can't really. I mean, not a lot of stuff in the way. Not a lot of other things blocking my path. Though he does have some up here, which is a little tricky, I guess. You know what? I forgot to do these guys' skin. I'm doing their armor. I haven't even done their skin yet. The lowest spot. These guys, being late to the party, missed the skin color treatment. Now I gotta work on that separately, I guess. pulling in a little bit more of the darker silver here. I feel like it needs a little bit more. I'm using a little bit of my straight natural steel here to try to get underneath a couple spots, just to darken up as a undershadow here. So, okay, so they got their chainmail on. I got to get the skin on these guys done. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to wait. 2:42. Yeah. All right, let me get a drink. Maybe I can. Let me try to get some skin on these guys. I think it's important for them to have their skin in the game. I said I was going to do them with a slightly different skin tone. So we're going to use Corporeal Shadow, which is going to turn them pretty purple again. But this time, instead of using a black wash to darken their skin, I'm going to use kind of a brown wash. Maybe a demon brown? That'd be interesting, huh? No, I hear these instant ones don't work very well, or for mixing. So we'll use I think I like a Gorgon brown, or let's see what we got here. Omega blue. Don't want blue. It's gonna be weird, huh? Purple and brown mixed together. What am I doing, man? You're gonna break your minis with your crazy talk. Mm-hmm. No, I don't have a ton. No, that's not the right brown. No, I want something dark. I thought I had like a more significant express color brown, but I'm not seeing it. Maybe I don't. What color is that? Skin? Skin tone brown? That would be definitely a brown, huh? I don't think I've ever used this skin wash. What would that do? Let's try it. The skin wash is kind of a brown. I mean, it's kind of a reddish brown, but the only other option is to go with an air brown. I have express brown here. Is that what it's called? Express brown? No, cypress brown. Let's try this. I don't know what it's going to do, but I'm curious. Experimentation is the name of the game. I got to keep telling myself that as I go on to the next step. It's going to cause me headaches. So we're going to do corporeal brown, and then I'm going to put the skin wash on pretty quick after, so I'm not going to even let this completely dry. And get my other another brush here. I'll just start. This is a Reaper paint, by the way, if you're curious. If that's a thing that you're interested in. And I like to put it on almost as a wash because it takes too long otherwise. You're just trying to get it on there, kind of like a glazing effect. Alright, kind of slowly but surely trying to get this guy his skin color colored. When you do it with a really thick paint or thin paint, I will say it's a pretty good thing for hitting all the cracks. Just because it's so, just basically runs into all the spots. You don't miss anything. Oh yeah, it's not going to be as solid if you're looking for that nice deep colored solid paint, but sometimes it's going to look smoother if you don't do that anyway. Because a lot of thin layers like this will probably end up giving you the same deep color, but it just won't look, you're less likely to get brush runs. It's kind of, I think they call it, I think it's like, it's basically glazing. You're just, now I'm probably doing it more like putting on layers of wash. Probably a little thinner than it should be. I'm putting it almost like a contrast paint, turning this paint that's not a contrast paint into a contrast paint. But it's the same basic premise. Like I said, these guys are, he's just a little too blue for me, so I probably will, or too purple, so I will do my other wash over that shortly. But let's go on to the next dude. Got two more guys that need to get their skin color applied. They're all going to have the same base. Oh boy, this guy don't have much. This guy don't have a lot of skin. He's very much a furs kind of guy. I wonder if I should just go to dinner tonight. Definitely having second thoughts of what I should do there. I don't know. Alright, I think his skin is covered. Think. Oh. Here. And then there was the last guy. Actually, I was wrong about how much I needed this stuff, though. Oh, might not be thin enough. So, like, this guy's got a cauldron. I don't even see how it's stuck to his arm. It doesn't go under his arm, so it's just kind of sitting there. Cauldron? I said cauldron. He's wearing a cauldron. He's kind of a Wiccan orc. It's not a cauldron. It's not a cauldron. That's just the slip of the tongue. Trying to make sure that this Bubba gets all his skin covered. So you could be a little less prone to sunburn. Do you know they used to have a, they probably still do, a sunscreen that was purple. And the premise was that it was for kids, so that when you're spreading the sunscreen on them, it would, you could see where you put it, and then it would fade. You know, it would turn into, you know, it would lose its color. It would just go invisible or whatever it does. But I don't know. You know, the idea was that you would, this way you made sure you got the kid completely covered in sunscreen. That's what I was thinking about with this. That this purple skin reminds me of the colored sunscreens. This guy has no leg visible, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm tempted to cut this stuff off that's touching the ground. Maybe not, because I guess it does kind of, it is kind of his clothes going all the way down. Huh. But there are parts there that don't look like they should be there. All right, so I got all these orc skins colored, but it's, again, I don't want it that light. So next step, we're gonna wash them again. This time we're gonna use a brown. I used a black last time. So we're gonna see if I, well, it's not even a brown. I'm gonna use a skin wash, a skin tone wash. This is Vallejo Game Color Ink Skin Wash. So we're about to find out if I do more harm than good on these guys, but we're gonna find out. And again, I'm gonna do it really thin, as in thinner even than the washes. So I'm actually gonna wet my brush. We'll see what kind of tone I end up with here in a super wet way here. It's going to be kind of reddish. As far as inks go, this is a pretty heavy duty ink, man. So purple undertone with brown wash. So my goal here is to not make them stand out too much. Right. try to figure out how to thin this one down, because I may have overdone the leg there. Basically just reapplying the too much on his leg into other areas. Actually, I don't mind the color combo. I mean, it is giving it more of a, I mean, that's the whole point, it's to be a little bit more brown, but man, this wash is potent, man. This ink is crazy. It's like I need to just barely touch it, just get as much water as I can so that it only does the color that I want. It's really potent. Really, really potent. It is really, 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 really potent. Hope I don't wash off too much paint when it comes to fix this sphere. Because it requires, you know, boiling, getting some pretty hot boiling water, trying to touch just as little as the model as you can, and then trying to reposition, ice it down. Or you can try to pin it, which is probably almost as hard to do. Some people I have seen, when it comes to like spears and stuff, which are all bent up, they basically just replace it. They will use like something straight and stiff, like a stick or a piece of pin or something, and then they just prime it, paint it, make it look like that, and it's just a nice sturdy, easily put back kind of like you just turned your plastic model into a partially metal model, right? You know, actually, I don't, like I said, I don't really mind that color. It's just, it's pretty strong. It's making me, I'm struggling on keeping it thin enough. See how thick that goes on. Just keep dragging up thin amount of water. So orcs should have regular eyes, right? I mean, what color eyes do you give an orc? Blue? Are they blue-eyed? Blue, I was thinking like light sky blue, kind of, you know, dead eyes kind of thing going. I don't know for sure if that's the right option. Or I could just give them regular white eyes with pupils, if I could get the pupils in there, which is not exactly, it's hardly a given my brush skills, if you want to call them that. Man, I like it better with purple coming through better. It's hard to get that. I'm really struggling to get that purple to come through. Where am I missing one? Right here. It's like I'm throwing this stuff on like as watery as I can, but it's really, see how thick that is? And then I'm trying to spread it out as fast as humanly possible. And then it just keeps on spreading out on my palette, no problem. It's watery enough that it's spreading out. Getting close to game time, so I gotta either make my decision on what I'm doing tonight. Either way, I have to start packing up, so I will be calling it good after I do the skin here for today. So I move on to the next. Yeah, these guys, I cannot, it's just so thick. This skin cone really is overwhelming. It's just very fluid, it's good. I mean, if you want that tone, this is going to do the trick. I mean, it is going to get on there, it's going to stick, it's going to cover up whatever you're doing. And you may or may not be thrilled with it if it's not what you're looking for, but do not worry about its coverage. If you keep it, even if it's consistent coverage, it's basically a paint. It's an ink. It calls it a skin wash, but it is not thin. Or it's not like a wash. I would probably been better off using a brown wash. I mean, this works, but I said it really diluted my purple effect. And I don't know if I like that total dilution. I wanted it to be a coverage over it, like a brown, over, well, a wash, but like I say, it just didn't quite do that. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. Totally. I mean, it really is. They are a darker tone. They do have the look I'm kind of going for. I wouldn't mind them being a little bit purpler, more purple. but I think we're okay. Next, we'll be getting some more armor painted, some swords painted, a whole bunch of other things. But we got 6 orcs now, 2 clans of orcs. We'll see where that takes me. Yeah, in the days to come when I paint next. But for now, I have to call it and go do some gaming and eating, the whole bit. And until next time, you take it easy. Bye.